My mother told my kids Santa isn't real at age 5 to punish me for hosting Christmas, said they're old enough for truth. Now she's sobbing because I banned her from every holiday and the kids call her the Grinch. No more grandparent time. My mother looked my 5-year-old twins dead in the eyes on Christmas Eve and said Santa isn't real, your parents have been lying to you this whole time. I was in the kitchen finishing dinner. My husband called me in because something was wrong and I walked into the living room to find my daughter sobbing into the couch cushions and my son just staring at the tree with this blank expression. My mother was sitting in the armchair with her arms crossed looking smug as hell. What happened? I asked. My son turned to me. Grandma says Santa's fake. She says you and Daddy buy all the presents. I felt my stomach drop. Mom, what did you do? I told them the truth, she said. They're 5 years old, that's old enough to know reality from fantasy. You can't shelter them forever. My husband stepped between us. You had no right to do that. I have every right. I'm their grandmother. She stood up. Besides, maybe if you hadn't stolen Christmas from me this year, I wouldn't have had to correct your parenting mistakes. That's what this was actually about. We host Thanksgiving every year and this year I told her we were doing Christmas at our house too instead of driving 3 hours to hers. She'd been passive-aggressive about it for weeks but I thought she'd gotten over it. My daughter was still crying. My son kept asking if it was true. I told my mother to leave. Oh, so now I'm being punished for honesty? You're being punished for deliberately hurting my children to get back at me, I said. Get out of my house. She started crying. Actual tears. You can't keep my grandchildren from me over this. I was just trying to help them grow up. My husband physically walked her to the door. She was calling me cruel and unreasonable the whole way. After she left I had to sit my kids down and do damage control but honestly it was too late. The magic was gone. My daughter wanted to know why we lied and my son asked if the tooth fairy was fake too. I texted my mother that night. Told her she wasn't welcome at our house for any holiday going forward and that we'd be taking a break from visits in general. She sent back paragraph after paragraph about how I was being vindictive and keeping her from her grandchildren over one mistake. It wasn't one mistake. She knew exactly what she was doing. We made it through Christmas morning but it wasn't the same. My kids were excited about their gifts but kept asking which ones were really from Santa and which ones we just said were from Santa. My daughter told her friend at school that her grandma ruined Christmas. My mother showed up at our house uninvited 3 days after Christmas. The kids were playing in the front yard and she tried to talk to them. My son told her you're like the Grinch, you steal Christmas and ran inside. My daughter wouldn't even look at her. She started crying again on my doorstep. I made a mistake, please don't do this. You didn't make a mistake, I said. You made a choice. You chose to hurt my kids because you were mad at me. I'll apologize to them, I'll make it right. There is no making this right. You can't unring that bell. I shut the door. She's been texting family members saying I'm keeping her grandchildren from her over nothing. My dad called and said I should forgive her because she's sorry now. My sister thinks I'm being too harsh and that kids find out about Santa eventually anyway. But it's not about Santa. It's about her using my children as weapons because she didn't get her way. And now every holiday is going to be different because she couldn't keep her mouth shut for one evening. The kids call her Grandma Grinch now when they talk about her. They don't ask to visit her anymore. She sent them apology letters that I haven't given them because honestly they're better off not thinking about it. My mother came by yesterday. She brought presents and stood on the porch crying saying she just wants to see her grandbabies. My daughter watched from the window and then went back to playing without saying anything. Maybe I should let her apologize to them directly. Maybe I'm using this as an excuse to cut her off when the real issue is years of her boundary stomping. But also she literally ruined one of the last innocent magical things my kids had and she did it on purpose. Now I'm wondering if I overreacted. Am I a butthole? My mother showed up at my son's school yesterday and tried to pick him up early. The front office called me immediately because she wasn't on the approved list. I was in a meeting and saw my phone light up with the school's number and my heart just stopped. When I called back, the secretary told me my mother had come in saying there was a family emergency and she needed to get my son out of class. There was no emergency. She just wanted to see him. I told them under no circumstances was she allowed to take my children anywhere and that if she showed up again to call the police. Then I left work and drove straight to the school. My mother was still in the parking lot sitting in her car crying when I got there. I knocked on her window. She rolled it down and started immediately with I just wanted to spend time with him, I miss them so much. So you lied to his school and tried to take him without my permission? You won't let me see them any other way. She was doing that thing where she makes herself look pathetic, wiping her eyes with a tissue. I'm their grandmother. I have rights. No you don't. You have privileges that you lost when you deliberately hurt them. I was shaking, I was so angry. If you ever try this again, I'm filing for a restraining order. She called me a vindictive bitch and drove off. I went inside and updated all the paperwork to explicitly state my mother was not allowed any contact with my children. Added her photo to their records. The principal was really understanding about it, but I could tell she thought our family drama was excessive. That night my dad called. Not to apologize for my mother or anything, but to tell me I was tearing the family apart. He said my mother hasn't been eating, she's depressed, she cries all the time. Like that's supposed to make me feel guilty. She tried to take my son out of school without permission, I said. She's desperate. You've cut her off completely. She did this to herself. He told me I was being cruel. That everyone makes mistakes and I'm punishing her forever over one bad moment. I asked him if he was there Christmas Eve when she looked my babies in the eyes and destroyed their belief in Santa just to hurt me. He got quiet. Your mother loves those kids. Then she shouldn't have weaponized them. I hung up. My sister sent a long text about how I need to forgive and move on. How the kids are going to grow up thinking I kept them from their grandmother for no reason. She said eventually they'll find out about Santa anyway and it won't seem like such a big deal and I'll regret burning this bridge. But it is a big deal. My daughter is in kindergarten and she doesn't participate in any of the Santa activities now because she knows it's pretend. Her teacher asked me if everything was okay at home because she told the other kids Santa wasn't real and made 2 of them cry. My son keeps asking questions about what else we've lied about and if the Easter bunny is fake too. The magic is gone. And my mother took that from them on purpose. My husband thinks we should consider family therapy with her. Not to let her back into their lives but to have a mediator help her understand what she did. I told him she understands perfectly fine, she just doesn't care. She only cares that she's facing consequences. My mother sent the kids letters again. I opened them this time. They were full of "Grandma misses you so much and I'm so sorry I made a mistake," but nothing actually taking responsibility. Nothing acknowledging that she deliberately hurt them. Just playing victim. I didn't give the letters to the kids. Yesterday my son asked out of nowhere if we were ever going to see Grandma again. I asked him if he wanted to and he shrugged. I don't know. She was mean about Santa but she used to make good cookies. That broke my heart a little. He's 5. He doesn't understand the full weight of what she did, he just knows she said something that upset him and now she's gone. My daughter hasn't mentioned her at all. Part of me wonders if I'm doing the right thing. If keeping them apart is protecting my kids or just punishing my mother. But then I remember her face that night, how satisfied she looked when my daughter started crying. How she stood there and argued with me instead of immediately apologizing to them. She knew what she was doing. And she'd do it again if she thought it would get her what she wanted. My husband suggested we could do supervised visits eventually, maybe in a few months when things calm down. Let her see them at our house where we can control the situation. I don't know. I don't trust her anymore. This morning my mother left a voicemail. She was crying so hard I could barely understand her. Something about how she can't live without her grandbabies and I'm killing her. Very dramatic. I saved it in case I need it later for documentation. My kids are doing okay mostly. They talk about Santa sometimes but not as much. My daughter told me last week that she's glad she knows the truth now because lying is bad. I didn't know what to say to that. The family group chat has been blowing up. My aunts and uncles weighing in about how I should handle this. Most of them think I'm overreacting. A few understand. My cousin sent me a private message saying her kids are older and she wishes she'd set harder boundaries with her parents years ago. I just keep thinking about my son in that school office, confused about why Grandma was there. About how easily she lied to try to get to him. What else would she lie about if I let her back in? But maybe I am being too harsh. Maybe kids are resilient and this won't matter in a few years. Maybe I'm making this a bigger deal than it needs to be. I don't know anymore. My mother showed up at my daughter's kindergarten class party yesterday with cupcakes and told the teacher she was there to help. I found out because another mom texted me a photo. My mother standing at the classroom door holding a bakery box with this huge smile on her face. The teacher didn't know she wasn't supposed to be there because it was a different teacher than my son has and I'd only updated his classroom about the situation. I called the school immediately. Asked to speak to the principal. By the time I got her on the phone my mother had already been in the classroom for 20 minutes, helping kids decorate cookies and acting like everything was normal. The principal had her removed. My mother apparently made a scene in the hallway, crying and saying I was keeping her from her grandchildren for no reason. Other parents saw the whole thing. I picked my daughter up early. She was confused about why Grandma had been there and why she had to leave. She brought the good cupcakes, my daughter said in the car. The ones with the sprinkles. That's exactly what my mother does. Shows up with treats and acts like the fun grandma so the kids forget why she's not around anymore. Trying to make me look like the bad guy. I called my mother that night. She answered on the first ring like she'd been waiting. You can't keep doing this, I said. I brought cupcakes to my granddaughter's class party. That's what grandmothers do. You're not allowed at their school. You know that. I have just as much right to be there as any other grandparent. Her voice was steady now, not crying anymore. You don't own those children. I'm their mother. You violated my boundaries again. Your boundaries are ridiculous. You're punishing me forever because you can't let go of one mistake. I hung up. My hands were shaking so hard I had to sit down. My husband came home and I told him everything. He was quiet for a long time and then he said we needed to talk to a lawyer. Not to sue her or anything dramatic, but to understand our legal options if she keeps trying to access the kids without permission. I didn't want it to come to that. But she's not stopping. The next day my sister called. She talked to my mother, who was apparently devastated that I'd had her thrown out of the school. She just wanted to see her granddaughter, my sister said. She ambushed her at school after I explicitly told her not to contact the kids. Maybe if you weren't being so extreme she wouldn't have to resort to this. Resort to what? Stalking? My sister got defensive. Said I was being dramatic and turning this into something it's not. That my mother made one mistake months ago and I'm acting like she's dangerous. She tried to take my son out of school without permission 2 weeks ago. Now she's showing up at my daughter's class party. What's next? She's desperate. You've completely cut her off. Because she can't respect my decisions as a parent. I was so tired of explaining this. She used my kids to hurt me and now she won't accept consequences. We argued for another 10 minutes before I hung up. The family group chat erupted after that. My aunts and uncles all weighing in. Most of them think I'm being unreasonable. One of my cousins said I was denying my kids a relationship with their grandmother over pride. But it's not pride. It's protection. My mother sent an email. Long, rambling, full of how much she loves the kids and how she can't understand why I'm doing this to her. She said she's been going to therapy to work on herself and the therapist thinks I should give her another chance. I doubt she's actually in therapy. And even if she is, that doesn't change what she did. Yesterday my son came home from school upset. One of his friends told him that his grandma had come to his sister's party and brought cupcakes. Why didn't grandma come to my class? He asked. I didn't know what to say. How do I explain that his grandmother is trying to manipulate her way back into their lives by showing up uninvited with baked goods? Grandma isn't following the rules right now, I said. So she can't come to school events. What rules? Grown-up rules about respecting other people's choices. He didn't understand. He's 5. He just knows grandma used to be around and now she's not and sometimes she randomly appears with treats. My daughter asked if grandma was coming to her birthday party next month. I said no. She seemed relieved, which broke my heart a little. She shouldn't have to feel relieved that her grandmother won't be at her birthday. My dad called last night. First time we talked since he told me I was tearing the family apart. He said my mother is falling apart, not sleeping, not eating properly. She's obsessed with the kids and talks about them constantly. That's not my problem, I said. She's your mother. And I'm their mother. My job is to protect them, not manage her feelings. He was quiet. Then he said, what if something happens to her? What if she does something drastic because she can't handle being cut off? Then that's her choice. I'm not responsible for her mental health. But after I hung up I couldn't stop thinking about it. What if she does do something? What if this gets worse before it gets better? My husband found me sitting in the dark in our bedroom at midnight. I told him what my dad said. He held me for a while and then he said, you can't set yourself on fire to keep her warm. I know he's right. But it's hard. This morning the school called. They've updated all their records to include my mother's photo and explicit instructions that she's not allowed on campus for any reason. The principal apologized for the confusion at the party. She said if my mother shows up again they'll call the police. I thanked her and felt sick the entire time. I never thought it would get this far. That I'd have to ban my own mother from my kids' school. That I'd be having conversations with lawyers about grandparent rights. But she won't stop. And I can't let her keep ambushing them. My daughter's teacher sent a note home saying my daughter has been acting out in class. Getting upset during story time, not wanting to participate. The teacher asked if anything was going on at home. Everything is going on at home. But I can't explain the whole situation in a note. I don't know how much longer I can keep this up. The constant vigilance, always wondering where my mother is going to pop up next. Always having to explain to the kids why grandma can't be around. But what's the alternative? Let her back in and wait for the next time she decides to punish me by hurting them? I can't do that either. My mother posted on her church's community page asking for prayers because her daughter won't let her see her grandchildren. I found out because 3 different people from that church sent me screenshots. She'd written this whole thing about how she made one tiny mistake and I've turned the children against her. How she's being persecuted for telling the truth. How she just wants to be a grandmother but I'm vindictive and cruel. The post had 67 comments. Most of them were from people I've never met saying they'd pray for her, that I was dishonoring my mother, that children need their grandparents. A few people who actually know the situation tried to defend me and got attacked in the comments. My phone started ringing. People from the church calling to tell me I needed to forgive my mother. An old family friend left a voicemail saying she was disappointed in me for keeping the kids away over something so small. I screenshotted everything and sent it to my mother with one text, "Take the post down now." She called me immediately. I have a right to ask for prayer support. You lied to your entire church about what happened. I didn't lie. I made a mistake and you won't forgive me. That's the truth. You deliberately ruined Christmas for my kids to punish me and then you stalked them at school twice. That's the truth. I visited my granddaughter's classroom. That's not stalking. I hung up. The post stayed up. My husband was livid when I showed him. He wanted to comment on the post himself, but I told him it would just make things worse. We'd be arguing with strangers who already decided I was wrong based on my mother's version. That night my daughter asked why people from Grandma's church kept messaging me. She'd seen my phone light up with notifications. I told her it was adult stuff and she didn't need to worry about it. Is Grandma still mad at us? Grandma's not mad at you, sweetheart. She's mad at me. Because we live here now for Christmas? I didn't know she remembered that detail. She'd only been 5 when this started. Now she's 6 and apparently she's been processing this the whole time. Something like that. My son heard us talking and came in. Can we just say sorry so Grandma stops being sad? You didn't do anything wrong. You don't need to apologize. But if we say sorry, she'll stop crying and come back. This is exactly what I was afraid of. They're starting to think this is their fault. That they need to fix it. The church post got worse. Someone suggested I might be abusing my children and that's why I won't let my mother see them. Another person said she was going to pray that CPS investigates me. My sister called that night. You need to make this stop. I'm not the one who posted it. You're the one refusing to compromise. Just let her see the kids for an hour. Supervised. Whatever. End this. She needs to take down the post and apologize publicly for lying about the situation. She's not going to do that. You know how she is. Then we have nothing to talk about. My sister was quiet for a second. The family's splitting over this. You realize that, right? People are taking sides. I didn't ask anyone to take sides. I asked my mother to respect my boundaries and she won't. Your boundaries are unreasonable. I hung up on her too. The next day someone from the church showed up at my house. An older woman I recognized from family events years ago. She had this condescending smile and asked if we could talk about reconciliation. There's nothing to reconcile. My mother violated my trust and my children's well-being. She told me what happened. About the Santa situation. Children are resilient. They'll be fine. She told you her version of what happened. The woman pulled out a Bible. Actually pulled out a Bible on my doorstep. Started reading something about honoring your parents. I shut the door in her face. My husband came home early that day because I texted him I was losing it. He found me sitting on the kitchen floor crying. Not because I felt guilty but because I was so angry and exhausted. We could move, he said. I looked at him. What? Not far. Just to a different school district. Different neighborhood. Make it harder for her to show up randomly. I hadn't even considered that. The idea of uprooting our entire lives because my mother won't leave us alone felt insane. But also maybe necessary. That night my dad called. Your mother's having chest pains. She went to the ER. My stomach dropped. Is she okay? They're running tests. But the doctor thinks it's stress-related. I'm sorry she's going through that. She's going through it because of you. His voice was hard. If something happens to her, that's on you. No. It's on her. She created this situation. She's your mother and she's in the hospital and you won't even come see her. Did she ask for me? He paused. She's asking for the kids. Of course she was. Even in the hospital she was trying to manipulate her way back to them. I hope she feels better. But I'm not bringing my children to see her. He hung up without saying goodbye. I couldn't sleep that night. Kept thinking about my mother in a hospital bed, alone, sick. Wondering if I was making the right choice. Wondering if this was all worth it. My husband rolled over at 2 a.m. You're not going to see her. I know. Because if you do, she wins. She gets exactly what she wants by making herself sick. I know. But you still feel guilty. Yeah. He held my hand in the dark. Neither of us said anything else. The next morning my dad texted that they released her. It was anxiety, not her heart. She'd be fine. I didn't respond. The church post was still up. Now over 100 comments. Someone had shared it to another group. My mother was getting exactly what she wanted, sympathy and support and people telling her what a terrible daughter I was. My daughter's birthday is in 2 weeks. I haven't sent out invitations yet because I'm afraid my mother will find out where the party is and show up anyway. Everything feels like it's building to something but I don't know what. My mother showed up at my daughter's birthday party with a sheriff's deputy. We were at the park pavilion I'd reserved. 20 kids running around, parents chatting, cake table set up. My daughter was opening presents when I saw my mother walking across the grass with a uniformed officer next to her. My husband saw them at the same time. He stepped in front of me as they approached. "Ma'am, I need to speak with you," the deputy said to me. "What's this about?" My mother stood behind him with her arms crossed. She'd been crying, but her face was set. Determined. Your mother filed a complaint alleging you're denying her court-ordered visitation with her grandchildren. My stomach dropped. There's no court order. She has no legal right to see them. The deputy looked uncomfortable. He glanced at my mother, then back at me. She showed me documentation that she's been attempting to maintain a relationship and you've been refusing. Documentation of what? Her church post where she lied about the situation? Other parents were staring now. The kids had stopped playing. My daughter was watching from the picnic table, her birthday crown crooked on her head. My husband pulled out his phone. Officer, there is no court order for grandparent visitation. This is harassment. She's shown up at their schools multiple times without permission after being explicitly told to stay away. The deputy's expression changed. Is that true? My mother's voice shook. I'm being kept from my grandbabies over one mistake. She's alienating them from their family. One mistake? I couldn't keep my voice down anymore. You destroyed Christmas for them on purpose. You tried to take my son out of school. You ambushed my daughter's classroom. You posted lies about me on social media. This isn't one mistake, this is months of you refusing to accept boundaries. Ma'am, the deputy said to my mother, if there's no court order, I can't help you. But she's keeping them from me. That's her legal right as their parent. My mother's face crumpled. She looked at my kids, both of them watching from a distance now. Please, she said to me, not the deputy. Please just let me see them for 5 minutes. It's her birthday. I brought a present. No. I'm begging you. You brought a cop to my daughter's birthday party to force your way back into her life. Does that sound like something someone who cares about her well-being would do? The deputy cleared his throat. Ma'am, I'm going to need you to leave the premises. If you refuse, I'll have to escort you out. My mother looked at him like he'd slapped her. You're taking her side? There's no sides here. You don't have legal standing to be here and the property is reserved for a private event. She started crying harder. Real sobs this time. Several of the other parents looked sympathetic. One of the moms I didn't know well came over and asked if everything was okay. Family issue, I said. The deputy walked my mother back to her car. She kept turning around to look at the kids. My son had hidden behind my husband. My daughter just stood there holding a stuffed animal someone had given her, watching her grandmother leave. After they drove away, I tried to restart the party. Sang happy birthday, cut the cake, let the kids go back to playing. But the mood was ruined. Parents kept giving me concerned looks. A couple of them left early. When everyone was gone and we were cleaning up, my daughter asked why Grandma brought a policeman. She thought the policeman would make me let her stay. Why don't you want her to stay? I sat down on the picnic bench. My husband took our son to throw away trash, giving us space. Remember when Grandma told you Santa wasn't real? She nodded. That really hurt your feelings, right? Yeah. Grandma did that because she was mad at me. She wanted to hurt your feelings to make me feel bad. And when someone hurts you on purpose like that, even if they're family, you don't have to let them keep doing it. But she said sorry. I know. But saying sorry doesn't mean much if you keep doing hurtful things. Grandma keeps trying to see you and your brother in ways that aren't okay. Like coming to your school when I said no. Or bringing a policeman to your party. My daughter was quiet for a long time. Then she said, I don't think I miss her anymore. That broke something in me. Not because I felt guilty but because my 6-year-old shouldn't have to feel that way about her grandmother. My father called that night. You humiliated her in front of everyone. She brought a sheriff's deputy to a children's birthday party. She's desperate. You've given her no choice. She had a choice. Respect my boundaries. She chose not to. The family's done with this. You're not welcome at Thanksgiving or Christmas. Your sister agrees. Your aunts and uncles agree. You've made your choice and now you deal with the consequences. Fine. He hung up. My husband found me sitting in the dark in our bedroom again. Your dad? We're officially cut off from the whole family. Good. They've been enabling her this entire time. He was right. But it still hurt. The next week my mother's church friends started leaving reviews on my husband's business page. 1-star reviews saying he supports parental alienation. Saying we're keeping grandchildren from a loving grandmother. His business partner called asking what the hell was going on. We reported the reviews. Most got taken down. But the damage was done. My son's teacher called. He told his class that his grandma tried to steal him and now the police won't let her see him anymore. The teacher wanted to know if everything was safe at home. I had to explain the whole situation again. She was understanding but I could tell she thought this was all excessive family drama. Maybe it is. Maybe I could have handled this differently. Let her see them with supervision. Tried family therapy. Something other than complete cutoff. But every time she's had an opportunity to respect my decisions, she's chosen to violate them instead. And I can't let my kids learn that boundaries don't matter if someone cries hard enough. My daughter's birthday was 3 weeks ago. She hasn't mentioned her grandmother since. My son asks occasionally but less and less. They're okay. Better than okay, actually. No more anxiety about surprise visits. No more confusion about why grandma's around sometimes and not others. My mother sent one final letter. I opened it. It said she was moving to be closer to my sister across the state. That she can't live in the same town where her grandchildren are but she can't see them. That she hopes someday I'll forgive her but she's not waiting anymore. I didn't respond. She moved last week. My sister texted that she's living in her guest room now, helping with her kids. I hope that works out for them. My family sends photos to the group chat I'm no longer part of. My sister forwards them sometimes. Everyone together at holidays. My mother smiling with my nieces and nephews. My kids don't ask about any of them anymore.